6. Jesus goes back to the crowds, towards the poor people and gives them alms. According to his own judgment. Everybody is now happy and Jesus can speak. Peace be with you. I explain the ways of the Lord to you, that you may follow them. Could you follow the path that goes down on the right-hand side, and at the same time follow the one on the left-hand side? You could not. Because if you take one you must leave the other. Even if the two paths were close together you could not walk any length with one foot in one and one in the other. You would end up by being tired and making a mistake, even if there was a wager. But between the path of God and Satan's there is a great distance, which becomes greater and greater, just like the two paths that come out up here, but as they run down the valley they become farther and farther from each other, as one goes towards Capernaum and the other towards Ptolemais. Such is life, it bestrides past and future, good and evil. Man is in the center with his will power and free will, at the ends, on one side there is God and his heaven, on the other side Satan and his hell. Man can choose. Nobody forces him. Do not say to me, Satan tempts us, as an excuse for descending towards the low path. Also God tempts with his love, which is very strong, with his words, which are most holy, with his promises, which are most alluring. Why then should you allow yourselves to be tempted by one only of the two, by the most undeserving one to be listened to? Are God's words, promises, love not sufficient to counteract Satan's poison? Consider that is not to your favor. When a man is physically very healthy, he is not immune from contagion, but overcomes it quite easily. Whereas if a man is already ill and consequently weak, he will almost certainly die in the event of catching a new infection, and if he survives, he is more seriously ill than previously because his blood lacks the strength to kill the contagious germs completely. The same applies to the superior part. If a man is morally and spiritually healthy and strong, you may be sure that he is not free from temptations, but evil does not strike roots in him. When I hear anyone say to me, I approached this man and that one, I read this book and that one, I endeavored to persuade this person and that one to do good, but in actual fact, the evil which was in their minds and in their hearts, the evil which was in the book, entered my heart, I conclude, which proves that you had already created within yourself a suitable ground for penetration. Which proves that you are a weakling lacking in moral and spiritual strength. Because we must derive some good also from our enemies. By watching their errors we must learn not to fall into the same. An intelligent man does not become the laughing stock of the first doctrine he hears. A man saturated with a doctrine cannot make room in his mind for any other. This explains the difficulties met when one endeavors to convince those, who are persuaded of other doctrines, to follow the true doctrine. But if you admit that you change your mind like a weathercock, I can see that you are thoroughly empty, that your spiritual stronghold is full of breaches, that the dam of your mind is leaking in hundreds of places, through which good water runs out and foul water runs in, and you are so stupid and listless that you are not even aware of it and you do not see it. You are a wretch. Of the two paths, therefore, choose the good one and proceed on it, resisting to the allurements of senses, of the world, of science, of the demon. Leave half faiths, compromises, pacts with two people, one opposed to the other, to the men of the world. They, too, should avoid them, if they are honest. At least you, men of God, must shun them. You cannot have them either with God or with mammon. You must not have them with yourselves either, because they would be of no value. If your actions are a mixture of good and evil, they are of no value whatsoever. The entirely good ones would be cancelled by the bad ones. The evil ones would lead you straight into the enemy's arms. Therefore do not indulge in them. Be loyal in your service. No one can serve two masters with two different minds. He will either love one and hate the other, or vice versa. You cannot be both of God and of mammon. The Spirit of God cannot be conciliated with the spirit of the world. The former ascends, the latter descends. The former sanctifies, the latter corrupts. And if you are corrupt, how can you act with purity? Senses light up in corrupt people, and other lusts follow senses. 7. You already know how Eve was corrupted and how Adam became corrupt. Through her, Satan kissed the woman's eyes and bewitched them, so that every aspect, so far pure, became impure for her and roused strange curiosities. Then Satan kissed her ears and opened them to the words of a new science, his own. Also Eve's mind wanted to know what was not necessary. Then Satan showed her eyes and mind, now awake to evil, what previously they had not seen or understood, and everything in Eve became sharp and corrupt. And the woman went to the man, revealed her secret, and persuaded Adam to taste of the new fruit, so beautiful to the eye and so strictly forbidden so far. And she kissed him, and looked at him with mouth and eyes already fouled by Satan's gloomy disorder. And corruption penetrated Adam, who saw, and through his eyes he craved for what was forbidden, and he bit it with his helpmate and fell from such height into mud. A corrupt person will draw another person to corruption, unless the latter is a saint in the true sense of the word. Watch your eyes, men. Both the eyes of your bodies and the eyes of your minds. If they are corrupt, they can but corrupt all the rest. The eye is the light of the body. Your thought is the light of your heart. But if your eye is not pure, because since the organs are subject to thought, a corrupt thought will corrupt also senses, everything in you will become obscure, and a seducing haze will create impure phantasms in you. Everything is pure in him who has a pure thought, which causes a pure look, and the light of God descends as a master, where there is no obstruction of senses. But if out of ill will you have accustomed your eyes to disorderly visions, everything will become darkness in you. In vain you will look at the most holy things. In the darkness they will be nothing but blackness, and blackness will be the deeds accomplished by you. 8. Therefore, O children of God, defend yourselves against yourselves. Look after yourselves diligently against all temptations. There is no evil in being tempted. An athlete prepares himself for victory fighting. But it is evil to be overcome, because you are not prepared and you are negligent. I know that everything serves as a temptation. I know that defense is exhausting. I know that it is tiring to have to struggle. But think of what you will gain through these things. And for 1 hour of pleasure, whatever kind it may be, would you like to lose an eternity of peace? What does the pleasure of the flesh, of gold, of thoughts leave you? Nothing. What do you gain by rejecting them? Everything. I am speaking to sinners, because man is a sinner. Well, tell me the truth, after satisfying your senses, your pride, your greed, have you felt fresher, happier, safer? In the hour following your satisfaction, which is always the time of meditation, have you sincerely felt that you were happy? I have never tasted the bread of sensuality. But I will reply in your stead, no. Languor, unhappiness, uncertainty, nausea, fear, restlessness, that was the juice squeezed out of the hour spent in pleasure. But I beg you, while I say to you, never do that, I also say to you, do not be inflexible with those who make mistakes. Remember that you are all brothers, made of one flesh and one soul. Consider that there are many reasons why one is led to sin. Be merciful towards sinners and kindly help them and take them back to God, showing them that the path they have followed is full of dangers for the flesh, the mind and the spirit. Do that and you will receive a great reward, because the Father who is in heaven is merciful to good people and he knows how to give you 100-fold to one. Now I say to you,